just to mix it up a little bit, make it a little bit interesting there. So we've got a nice squiggly corner, we've got a sort of like a nice half circle there, a quarter circle should I say, and then we've got the easy one really, that's that bit just there, so we can throw that over in the corner. I see so many people getting plywood, and what they do is they measure the room like this, and then they cut it, and then they whittle bits off of it, or stick bits in and whatever, and it all becomes a bit messy at the end of the day. Now, we're going to show templating. Obviously, you can only do templating if you've got the space somewhere to lay it out or whatever, but it's the easiest way to do it. It's the quickest way to do it, believe it or not, because it has one of these sort of like slow starts, but it has a sprint finish. So it takes a little bit of time to set your template up, but at the end you come in and you just drop your ply or your fabricated underlay straight in there. So Mark there is just, he's got his template paper felt, pad felt, whatever you want to call it. He's from the school that sort of likes his paper that way up, so that it flicks up at the edges. I'm from the school that wants to turn it over and have it nice and flat. But there again, I'm good at this, and he's not. It doesn't matter which way you have your paper, it's whatever suits you at the end of the day, whatever you're comfortable with. Nobody says you have to have that paper one way or the other. Yeah. Now, a lot of people think that making a template is that you have to take your time and you have to cut your paper exactly to the size and shape of the area that you're actually installing your sheet product to. That's not the case. It has to be short. You have to leave it short up to an inch short all the way around, which means you can just sort of like literally slash it in as long as you've got that gap all the way around the outside. And then what you use is you use something like this. It might be a steel rule. It might be anything really, it could be a trowel, as long as it's got two straight edges, and as long as those two straight edges are parallel with each other all the way along. We're just using a bit of LVT there, get off cuts of this and what have you, and it's quite handy to actually use. So that's what we do, and we just literally go around the outside, scribing that in, marking it out 3 inches. This is 3-inch strip that we've got here. We literally just mark this all out 3 inches smaller all the way around, and then when it comes to putting it onto our sheet material, we then put that 3 inches back on all the way around, and it should, might fit today, you know what I mean? Bit of practice, you'll get there in the end. So, just joining it together there, and then what he'll do is he'll cut a couple of sort of V's out of it, and then he'll put a bit of tape over those V's to just stop it from moving about on the subfloor, or stop it moving about on the ply or the sheet material that he's actually going to template. So while he's going through that, I'll just go through how we would fix this down. It's really important that these products are installed correctly and that they're secured correctly. That means that they're nailed, screwed or stapled to the subfloor so that they're not going to come adrift. They're not going to part company. Because if your plywood, see it's the black tape for sticking it to the floor. Yeah, because that's a stronger tape. What we do, guys, is we don't want this to move around, so we use a bit of sort of single-sided tape to stop it from moving about on the floor. But because the single-sided tape is quite expensive, we don't want to use that for joining two bits of paper together, so we just use a bit of masking tape for that. And as I say, I'm breaking marking. He will get to know how to do this properly by the end of the week. The way that you fix this down, it's got to be fixed down in accordance to British standards. British standards say that it should be secured around the perimeter of the sheet with spacings of no more than 100mm apart on your fixings. So 100mm all the way around the outside. Those fixings should be no more than 12mm away from the edge of your sheet of ply. The fixings in the centre of the sheet should be no more than 150mm apart. So it's 150mm centres or 6 inch in old money. You should start with one row of fixing straight down the centre of your sheet and one row of fixing straight across the middle of your sheet, and then work out to the four corners. And that means if you've got any fullness, if there's any undulation in the board or whatever, it will push that out of the sheet. If you fix all the way around the outside and then do the middle, you can trap fullness in it. It will go flat, but it will be there constantly forever and a day trying to lift up off of the floor. If one part of this lifts up off of the floor, you've probably got a replacement of that and the floor covering on your hands. So what Mark's doing is he's just going around with his marker there, and he's just literally scribing the walls in with his piece of LVT there. It's whatever you want to use. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's straight. Both sides are straight and they're parallel with each other. So he's going around and he's just marking out the little obstacle there. That's the easy one. He then do the straight wall, and then he uses a small piece to literally scribe around these shapes just there. So what he's doing is he's actually marking out his template smaller than the actual area. In this case 3 inches smaller, because it's 3-inch stripwood that he's actually using there. When he then brings that over onto his ply, he'll then put that 3 inches back on all the way around, and with a bit of luck today it will fit. Practice makes perfect, as they say. Let me tell you a little bit about who we are and what we've got going on here. Guys, do you know we've got a competition going on over here? You could win this limited edition toolbox and knee kicker supplied by Robert's UK. Only 80 of those have been made, and they're all numbered. They're celebrating their 80th anniversary, that's why there's 80 of them, and they've kindly donated that for the winner of Find the Fault competition. We've set up a little sort of like cameo thing over there with a few faults in it. So all you've got to do is go over, point out what those faults are, write them down on the sheet provided with your details, and if you are the winner, well then you get that just there. So that's quite a nice little prize. We've got down over in Hall M, we've got another demo area there as well. We've got Tim down there, we've got Scott, and we've got Byron down there. What they're doing is the floor finishing. They're doing carpets, vinyls, LVT, lino, Bornos, hand-sewn Bornos, power stretching, you name it, they're doing that all down there. We're doing the important stuff here, which is the floor preparation. Don't matter how good you are, if that floor prep's not right, it's never going to look right, or it's never going to perform properly. So I suggest you stay with us really, it's more interesting here. We're better down here than they are up there. We've also got Carpet Fitter of the Year going off in the King Suite, which is just at the top of Hall M here, up the steps and into the King Suite there. We got this year's 6 top fitters battling it out there to become Carpet Fitter of the Year. Mark is not last year's winner, but the year before he won Carpet Fitter of the Year back then. And over in Hall M, Byron, who's actually out helping them over there, he was last year's winner as well. There's 6 fitters there, really good fitters. They've got quite a challenge on their hands over there. It's 3 inches. It's not always going to be necessarily 3 inches. It all depends what you use to mark it out with. If you're using a steel rule, it's going to be what, inch all the way around. Yeah. Sometimes what we do, a little bit of a trick with this. Have you got a knife? Thank you very much. Can I borrow that? How many installers
we would like to remind all visitors about the upcoming talk by Ian Metallic in the King Suite, starting at 10 to 12, titled How the Independent Retailers Can Take on the Giants and Win. Thank you.
How many jobs do you go to where the skirting board doesn't touch the floor? Yeah? Quite a lot. We've got something here which is 2.5mm thick. If I'm going around the edge and there's a gap underneath the skirting board, that could go underneath the skirting board, but this won't, because this is 6mm thick, and I could be marking it out too big. So all we do with this, you're nice, mate. So all we do with that, you just score it on the back, do it that, and then that won't go underneath the skirting board, and you'll get a true sort of like mark all the way around, and then you can flatten it out where you don't want it. So, little trick with that, otherwise it's going to slip underneath, or you've got to put 2 layers together or whatever. Toilets are exactly the same. If you're templating around a toilet, toilets always have that little bit of a curve, and if you go underneath that, yeah, the 2mm will go underneath it, but 6mm won't, and all of a sudden you're struggling. So what Mark's doing here now is he's got the small bit, and he's literally just now adding on that 3 inches back onto his template. The rest of it, the straight walls and whatever, he literally scribed with a knife. Now, 6mm ply, sometimes ply cuts really easy with a knife. Sometimes you'll get one which the density is a bit more dense and it's harder to cut with a knife. So really you're better off cutting this with a jigsaw, or do you know what an X-Acto cutter is? It's like a little circular saw, a little handheld one, and then you sort of plunge it in, you can cut with that, yeah? That's generally better, but because of health and safety, and because he's not that good with a jigsaw, and I really don't want him damaging or self-harming himself again, we can't use the jigsaw here today because of the noise and what have you. So he's going to have to cut that out with a knife. So he's going to struggle, or he's going to have to put quite a bit of pressure on there to cut that out. But generally we'd cut that out with a jigsaw, and we'd get that done really quick. So while he's just going around adding that 3 inches back onto his template, and while he's cutting it out, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about us, what we do, what services we can provide and what have you. We are FITA, the Flooring Industry Training Association. We were co-founded in 2000 by the NICF, which is the National Institute of Carpet and Floor Layers, and the CFA, which is the Contract Flooring Association. We've been around a lot longer than that. We were around as the NICF training arm, and we just found by giving it a new name, a new logo, it gave it a new lease of life, and we had a new partner in the CFA. Why not have a new partner? We share the same offices and whatever in Nottingham, so it's only natural that we have, we share this project. So we were co-founded in 2000. We've got a training centre which is based in Loughborough, which is in the East Midlands. You see there's some photos going on the roll there. That's just some sort of random photos of different sort of like courses that we actually run and what have you. All of our instructors are they're tested. They're all NICF master fitters. We insist that they're a master fitter, that they have been tested and passed that test in whatever category they actually train. We also insist that they're still practicing floor layers. They're not retired guys who used to do it this way 20 years ago. Times move on, materials change, techniques change, so we make sure that they're all up to date on new techniques. We're continually developing their knowledge and their skills. All 3 of our guys here, they're all master fitters and instructors at the training centre. I run the training centre, or I run this side of it. I can't be bothered with the paperwork side and what have you. I run this side, I write the courses, I train the trainers, I do the washing up and the painting and everything else that's thrown at me. And also run my own business, because we insist that all the guys are, as I say, still practicing floor layers, so they know what the guys or what the guys will be up to on a daily basis. The courses start off with basic courses. Anybody can come on one of those. Basic course, somebody who's never picked a knife up before, or guys that have just started in the trade, been sort of like, it's really hard. If you're out there and you're a fitter and you need to make money and you need to get so many metres down in a day, it's really hard for you to show a trainee what to do, how to do it, talk to him, explain why. Generally it's just you watch, you pick it up, and then all of a sudden you've thrown a piece of carpet to go into the toilet or the cupboard, because if you mess up, that's the smallest area to replace. So they generally, it seems a bit bad throwing somebody in the hardest room in the house first off, but it's the cheapest one to replace. At the training centre, the guys get a chance to play, to practice, to mess up and see what happens if they do mess up. So we've got that, we've got the basic, we've got intermediate, which is really good. We have so many different fitters on that you have fitters who've been working for 20 years come on and immediately just to brush up or to learn new techniques or whatever. We've got advanced courses where these days the carpet advanced course, I've just rewritten that one to include traditional carpets now, all your wovens, because they're making a big comeback. And not one, well, when I say not one fitter, but there's very few fitters that can handle traditional carpets. They're a completely different species. So now we've got your traditionals coming in on your advanced courses, power stretching, seaming, correcting skews, pattern matching, you name it, all on the advanced courses. That's just one type of course that we run, the carpet. We do resilient, that's commercial and domestic. We do LVT, we do planning, estimating, we do understanding moisture, we do subfloor preparation, sanding, sealing, air sewn ball noses, you name it, we've got it there. 1 day workshops, there'll be 2 day courses, 4 day courses. We've got syllabuses about, nobody's been putting them out because they've been going, so it would be bad if somebody was to sort of get their A into G and put some things out, because we want to sell some courses here. But we've got some syllabuses, they will be out, and they tell you exactly what we do, how many days they run for, and syllabuses, not people's promotional stuff. Yeah, it'll tell you exactly what's involved in those courses as well. As I say, we're based in Loughborough. It's really quite easy to get to, centre of the country. We get so many people say to us, why haven't you got one in London? Why haven't you got one in Glasgow? We actually got another one in Kilcoddy now, up at Forbo, so we can run courses there as well, but we're limited on the courses that we can run there at the moment. We can only do the resilient and what have you. Why? They're NICF made. Yeah, don't put them ones out, they're the expensive ones. By all means, NICF is an organisation which has been set up to promote the installer. In this country, flooring installers are classed as semi-skilled labour, lower than a forklift driver, which infuriates me. It's a highly skilled trade, and we feel it should be viewed as such. The NICF has been set up to promote the individual, to promote their skills, to back up for the fitters as well. If the fitters ever have a problem, oh, I'm on the job, I've got this problem, they can get onto the phone, there'll be somebody there that can help them out. So, the Flooring Industry Training Association, the only non-for-profit training provider within our industry. We're not business, we're there for training, we're there to improve the standards of workmanship within our industry. That's what we're there for. There are other training providers, fantastic. Anybody who provides training, great. But they are businesses, they need to make money. That is their way of making money. We don't. We can run a course with one person. If we get one booking, we will run that course. And what lucky people they are. They get one-to-one tuition. That can cost a lot of money at the end of the day. But we can do this because we're going to be going around with a hat in a little while. All donations greatly received, whatever you can afford. We're not fussy. And this is a joke, by the way. We have sponsors. We've got our sponsors up here. As you can see, quite a few major players there within the industry. They can see that there's an advantage to having their product shown how to be installed or applied correctly. So those guys we're indebted to. We would not be here if it wasn't for those guys. We wouldn't have a roof over our heads in Loughborough. So what we do is we agree that wherever we possibly can, we will show their products at any sort of shows that we attend or any of our sort of advertising. What we're not doing here today is promoting, endorsing or saying that any one product is better than another product. That's not what we do. We're here to promote best practice. That is how to install or apply these products that we're actually showing. There are other products out there that I'm sure are equally as good, but today we're putting down Hanson's SP101 6mm or 5.6mm plywood. How do you get away with that, by the way? I can't understand that. Yeah, if you say it's 6mm, it's got to be 6mm on it, but it's the sanding, the finishing of it for the floor coverings industry. So we're doing SP101, which is probably one of the, well, it complies to British Standards 8203 and the CFA compliance guidelines. Yeah, it's really stable. It's guaranteed there's no overlaps or any voids within the core material. Overlaps will expand eventually and you'll end up with a line showing. If you've got a void in the core material, it's a weak spot, and if you get point loading on that, it will bend. So it's guaranteed under that. The resins that glue it together, guaranteed it will not delaminate. Not like the Chinese stuff that you get coming over. This is as flat as a pancake. You can see it's totally flat there. We've had this stored out there, stood on its end up against the wall, bowed like that, which you really shouldn't. We come out within 2 minutes, it's as flat as a pancake. It's a premium product. Premium products have a premium price at the end of the day, but you only get what you pay for. There's no such thing as a deal or cheap or whatever at the end of the day. How you fix this down, well, that's entirely up to you. Or what you fix it down with is entirely up to you. You can either screw, you can nail, or you can staple. Staples have got to be of a certain gauge. It's no good the gauge like this one just here. This is something that a carpet fitter would use to maybe, this is the 4000, this is the ME 4000 from Spotnell My Street. If you look at the gauge of that staple there, it's a copper staple. It's quite a weak staple actually. There's no sort of like structure to it. The gauge of it is very thin. If you look at that, that is the only thing that will be holding it down. It's holding any hardly any surface at all. The surface of the product that's holding down is absolutely minimal. This is not strong enough for it. This is for doing like a ball nose if you're stapling up underneath a ball nose, or maybe putting a few little bits of gripper around the doorway. Fine, no problem with that. What you need is something which is a bigger gauge of staple. And you can just see there that that's a bigger gauge of staple just there. It's going to be holding more surface down. If you're stapling it down, make sure that when you staple, you're stapling across the grain. So you'll work up and down the sheet rather than across. If you work across, the staples will be going with the grain and it will just split the top layer. So it's not holding the top layer, it's only holding the core material and the bottom layer, and your grab is reduced by up to 20%. Myself, I prefer it to be nailed. Ring shank nails, minimum of 19 mil, and you can do that if you're doing big areas. We've got the coil nailer just here. Superb piece of kit. I will be showing these later today, by the way, on the tool time, the tools for the floor layer, which is later on this afternoon. I will be talking about these in more detail, but if you want any detail about the staplers or the nailers, well then Spotnell My Street just over there. There you go, with paid the bill just there. There are other staplers, there are other nailers, and you know, you can always nail it down if you want. Screws, not a problem, but you've got screws, you've then got to fill all the heads because they're going to be countersunk in and then they're going to mirror through to the surface. As I say, 100 mil around the outside, 150 mil on the inside, no more than 12 mil away from the edge of the sheet. When I say 100 mil, you don't have to mark it out every 100 mil and be absolutely correct. It's maximum spacing of 100 mil around the outside and maximum spacing of 150 mil on the inside. You start with one row of fixing straight down the centre of the sheet, and then another row of fixing straight across the middle of the sheet, and then you work out to the four corners, and that way if there is any undulations or any fullness in it, you push it out of the sheet rather than trapping it in. If you trap it in, it'll be there and it'll constantly be wanting to pull up off of the floor. If one part of this parts company with a subfloor, you've probably got a replacement of not only the ply but the material on your hands as well. Not many customers will accept a 3-inch screw through their Antico floor or LVT floor holding down the ply. Yeah, so it's worth taking a little bit more time. If I staple it down, which I do sometimes, small bathrooms, small toilets or whatever, electric stapler, I'll also put a handful of nails in there as well as what I call belt and braces. I can then sleep at night knowing that that will stay flat on the floor. So we're almost there. we've almost sort of like cut our fabricated underlay to size now. Fabricated underlay, this is what class of preparation this falls into. It's fabricated underlays, which can include hardboard and it includes plywood. Today we're doing plywood, Hanson's SP 101. CFA guidance compliant, and it's BS 8203 conforms to their annex there for subfloor preparation for fabricated underlays. Real stable product. Hanson timber are in Hall M. If you want any more information on that, there's some handouts here as well, some little carrier bags that they've got their stuff in as well. With this, once we've made a template, well, we can actually use that for the sheet material then. So you sort of like, you know, two birds with one stone at the end of the day. The only thing with doing a template is finding somewhere to actually do it. Most houses, don't matter how big it is, you know, if it's a big house, you fill it out with furniture. If it's a small house, you know, you ain't got room to swing a cat. You could do it on a patio or in the garage, but if it's pouring down with rain, the patio's going to be a problem, isn't it? So we're going to keep our fingers crossed here that Mark's actually managed to make this fit. You've got a sweat on there, Mark. You're all right, mate. And there you go. Yeah, as a slow start, but it has a sprint finish. And there's no messing around. And you know, how professional would that look to a customer, rather than, you know, somebody up there trying to whittle bits off of it, jumping up and down on it to make it fit, adding bits in and what have you. You know, it's very good. And feel free to come and have a look, because it's hard to see from where you are how sort of like good that is. Around about 1 mil to 2 mil gap all the way around the outside, which means there's no pressure on it. It's sat there, it's not going to sort of like force its way up. You don't need to leave an expansion gap around it, because this product is really stable. A lot of, if you look at British standards, it says you should be leaving sort of like 1/4 mil or 1/2 mil gap in between each board and what have you, to allow for expansion. But then, what do we do? If we're doing LVT, we use a bit of sort of like micro coat or feather finish or whatever on the joints to stop them from showing up. So if you've left an expansion gap, it's a waste of time, because you're going to be putting a filler in there to stop that from showing. So there you go. That's just sort of quickly showing you a quick demo on SP 101 fabricated underlays. In this case it's plywood, yeah, 6 mil. British standards BS 8203 will say that you could use 4 mil.